That work? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the final together. I know this is a little unorthodox from other classes, but I like to do it this way because it gives me the opportunity to answer questions that are still open. So as we go through these final questions, you're going to see a lot of them are very similar, and they're written like that on purpose, not to annoy you or to confuse you, but to get you start thinking about the little details that are different, but they make all the difference in the world. Like when you do a contract, distribution, financing, any contract you do in this industry, it's all about the devil is in the detail. So I structured the final a little bit like that to show me or let me know if there are still things that I feel that are not coming across or were maybe missed. And for you to have the opportunity to ask me, why is A not right? Why is B not right? What are we doing here? So we're going to go through all of these questions together. If you can take your finals and just, print it out, or so you have it ready to mark the final answer, so you can just send it to me after the class. That would probably be the easiest. So you can do it per hand, just mark, this is right, and just send it in. So we're going to do the first recording that will just be the final. Then I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to do a second recording for the pitches so that it's not mushed together. For people that just want to see the final, they do that. Other people want to see the pitches, they do that. Because, well, I should probably turn off my phone. That would be helpful. Thank you. So that way, for all the people that cannot be with us today, they have a chance of getting through the final a little faster. I also would like to encourage you to stay in touch with me. A lot of people that I've taught, I stayed in touch with on, projects that they're working on. And if I always try to make time to answer your questions. So don't feel bad about sending me a project and like, I got stuck here. What am I going to tell these people? And I'm negotiating this and the other. I'm always happy to give you feedback. Obviously, this is personal feedback. This is what I would do in a situation that you're in. That doesn't mean that other people would do it, differently, or a lawyer would tell you something else. So please always take my feedback as just my personal point of view. It could be totally wrong or totally irrelevant, but feel free to always reach out and just know that I'm here. And if you don't hear from me for 24 hours, I usually, sometimes it takes me a little longer when I'm in a production or something, but I do usually get back pretty quickly within like 48 hours latest. So feel free to email me and bug me with anything that comes up as you continue on your path of becoming amazing, fantastic executives, which you are, some of you already, but expanding. So let's get going here. Let me just see, where's my stuff?
And then on the one that I downloaded, it doesn't have any place to select. It's just a Word document.
Oh, you have, yeah, well then just mark, but you can mark on the Word document, right?
I guess would just highlight the answer then?
Yeah, you just highlight the answer. If you don't want to print it out and do it by hand, just highlight the answer. Just make the A, whatever the right answer is, red. I think on the Word document, you should be able to change color. Yeah, you could do that if you want.
I'm going to try.
Yeah. If not, just print it out and mark it by hand and send it to me.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever works easiest. But I gave you the option to download the PDF, and I gave you the option to download the Word, and you can download either or to do however you want to do it and get it back to me and mark it the way you want to do it. All right, so I'm going to start and try to find the final now. Let me see this here. So the final has 13 questions. Let me share my screen. Let's go away. Share screen. Just going to just make it nice and big so people can see. Okay. You guys seeing the screen?
Yes.
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you. So we're going to go through these slides. Final, yeah, we made it. Hallelujah. Pain is over, pretty much. Let's get into it, boys and girls. So since you've taken a look at it, don't make me read all this, but you can read it I'll give you a little context, and then you just know that 5 of these answers are correct. So the first question that we're dealing with, we're comparing the major studio model with the independent model. They operate, this major studio model and the independent model they operate in different ways. Which of the following statements are correct in comparing the major studio and the independent production, distribution, and finance model? Circle all the answers that are correct. So you can tell me now, if you look at this, which of them you think are correct.
Are we supposed to talk out loud or just kind
Yeah,
of do
just
it
talk out
ourselves?
loud, damn it.
Oh, okay. Well, A is definitely right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is B.
We're
Well,
saying,
how about E and G are incorrect? And
no,
because
let's talk about the ones that are correct, and then we can talk about
Yeah.
the ones that are incorrect if we want to get into it.
F is
F
correct.
is definitely correct.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
We had A, you guys. What else?
B.
B and
D,
F. F.
F,
C and
C,
D.
one more. So we're thinking A, B, F, C, D. Yes, are we in sync?
A, B, C, D,
F.
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 A, B, C, D, F. All right, let's see what the result is. Dun, 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 drum roll, drum roll. Zavago, you were correct.
Woo.
Well done, 2 points.
Yay.
Yay. Good,
Here.
next one.
I believe there's a typo though in the question. G,
Oh,
there's a word left out.
which,
So
where?
G, major studios do usually employ collection agents.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Is it also on the one that you have in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, same
So I'm
in the
gonna
Word document.
make a note to fix that. Thank you. I'm so bad with spelling. I should be in jail for this. I'm telling you, it's so hard. If my husband wouldn't look at everything I write, it would be totally.
We can't arrest you until after the class. So
Yes,
Please
that's
do,
right.
yes, please do. Totally fine with that. All right, we got that one right. We got 2 points. Number 2, feasible project. Right. The project is presented to you, and the business plan states that the project is estimated at a $50 million budget. What financial elements would you look for in order to determine that this project is feasible? Mark all the statements that would make this a feasible project. So it's B that make it feasible and the other ones don't. So which one do we think could be it? By the way, I have no idea. I'm just going by what you're telling me.
Definitely F.
What are you saying?
Yes.
F.
F, okay.
I'm
And
a
D.
or D.
Yeah.
We're saying D,
Yes.
and you're also saying E?
So D, E, F.
Oh,
D, E, F is what we're saying.
yeah.
Drum roll. No.
Oh, D, F, G.
E. So let's look at E. The project is feasible if international sales estimates are at least 70 to 75, yes. Or if the project has 35% sold. The or is the killer here.
Yeah.
Because if you only have 35% pre-sales and you have sales estimates of 40% or 50%, you're screwed. Makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yep.
Let's look at the one you didn't take, which is G. A project is feasible if international sales estimates are at least 70 to 75%. So far, so good. And if the equity investor requests to see a minimum of 30 or 35% pre-sold. Of course. Why did we not use this? Why did we not choose this? All right, you only get 1 point. Anyway, moving on. Question 3. Packaging. Fun subject matter. The film and television projects are established, as film and television projects are established, and let's start reading properly. Packaging is an essential component of the process. What is the meaning of and the reason for packaging? Circle what's right. 4 are right, 1 is not. What are we thinking?
A.
A.
I think
A.
Okay,
A, B, C.
Are we? What
A,
are we?
B, C, and E. A, B, C, and
All
E.
but D.
A.
A, B, C, E, and whoever said D, we're gonna talk about, hold on.
All but D.
You also
Oh,
think D
but-
optional?
I don't think
No.
the E is one of them though.
I think E is one.
Yeah, I think
I-
he's one.
Well, but it says that packaging a project with a director only makes sense if the A-level cast
Approved.
director.
Because you keep the
Yes.
A-level cast and boot the director.
Right.
But you should
Right.
get a
The
director
relationship.
first. But
You can get the director
is the-
first. You can
But
get the
you get-
director first, but if the actors don't approve of that director,
Right.
you have the clause to be able to drop that director and find a director that the actors do
I
approve
guess
of.
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, you guys should keep teaching my class. I love it. Drum roll. Yeah, E was right. D was not right. So let's look at D and why it's not right. Packaging a project with talent, including cast and director, has no relevance. Okay, we can stop reading here already. Thank you very much. I wish is all I say. I wish this would be true. A friend of mine moved from producing features and TV shows to doing animation. And she's like, I'm done with these stupid actors. I'm just doing their voices when there's work. Sorry, I take it all back, but it is hard to cast. It is definitely one of the more headachy things to do, packaging. I shit you not. Question 4. The budget. Just as important as the script and the package is the budget, especially in view of having it to be feasible yet deliver quality. What are some of the important considerations to be made when deciding on the budget of a project? Circle the correct answers. Only one is correct.
A,
We're voting for A.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
A.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Drum roll. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
bravo. This is going faster than I thought. You guys know your stuff. I'm shocked. Question 5. Sorry, I had to eat my banana nut muffin. 1 second. I can't do this on an empty stomach because I have to turn my brain on.
Real quick for question 4, why wouldn't B be correct?
Okay, let's go back. I like that. I have no idea. The budget of a project for which the international sales estimates are lower than 70 to 75% must be reduced for the project to be feasible from an equity investment point of view. Okay. In a case in which the domestic rights are pre-sold at 25% of the budget, that's where the little ink comes in. Because theoretically, 25% of the budget, if you just do that, you would not, it would still not be feasible. And it says in the case in which the domestic rights are pre-sold 25% of the budget, which means I should probably word it in saying in lieu of international to make it clearer, I think. Right, Sadie?
yes,
Out here. Let me make a note. Thank you. Is it view of
yes,
international sales estimates? That makes more sense.
yes.
Thank you.
Also, I have a question on this as well.
Okay, tell me.
On D, like we were taught that a bank will always require a completion bond. But in this situation, it's saying that the financiers don't care at all. So financiers would also mean bank, or by financiers, you mean equity investors.
I should specify equity investors.
Yeah, because in that, it is possible the bank says, or it's a private bank, we don't care. It could be possible. It would be strange, but possible.
Also, doesn't the completion bond have to sign off on the budget? So why would the producer just like not even listen to the completion bond at all if it's like part of the contract?
Most independent films really don't have one. If you
Those
don't,
are, which sentence were you referring to? Because I want to update that.
on D,
The very last sentence.
it says, the
Let me read.
finance,
The budget would not have to be increased if the completion bond company requires an increase of the budget, even after the bank and all the other fields would stand by to finance the budget as is, because it's estimated to show 75% of foreign territories and 35% result. So here the crux is the completion bond absolutely has to approve. So the first sentence already wrong. The completion bond does not have to approve is impossible. They have to approve if it's a bonded project.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that portion is already wrong. The financiers don't care about the bond company request. It's also bullshit. Of course they do, because they're
Mhm. Right.
the bond is on the project and the completion bond approves the project, so it's short.
Right.
That's already wrong. And deem the project as feasible because of the financial elements. The financial elements are feasible, but if the bond company doesn't approve it, they don't mean anything. So therefore, there is already two things in here that make no sense.
You're assuming rational financiers, but in your
I'm
question, your
saying-
answer, you wrote that these financiers don't care. So I'm like, well, if you don't care, if you're Pablo Escobar and you're like, I don't care. I mean,
Okay.
it is your
I want
test.
to say the financiers don't care about the bond company's request as they deem the project feasible as is. Okay. So you're saying if they don't care, we should not care as the producer. Well, I as a producer do care because if I go over budget, it's not necessarily what I should do here is the financiers don't care about the bond company request as they deem the project feasible. I should add as long as the producer takes care of the overages. Because someone needs to take care of the overages. If we go
Mhm,
over
right.
budget,
Right.
the financiers say, we don't care about the bond company. Then the conversation is, okay, are you gonna pay when we go over budget?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how's that conversation gonna happen? So what I can add here is, as long as the producer is responsible, God, producer. I like your feedback, thank you. Is responsible. Oh my God, Jeanette, seriously. Is responsible for potential overages.
Could you also talk about C? Because honestly, it sounds fine to me.
Yeah, let me look into that. I'm
sound-
just gonna fix this real quick. I'm gonna take this then out because I'm not gonna need that. I'm gonna just make a note to fix number D. So is this clearer now? Because
but-
now,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But
great.
now D falls under the possible scenario. What if early 80s Francis Ford Coppola is your producer and he's like, fine, I'll cover it. And you go over budget. It is totally still possible.
Hold on, which the producer will not agree to. And now it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, because if the producer does not agree to go over it, take on the overages, and the financiers haven't told us they will, well, they have actually said, as is, I'm gonna say, if the producer is not overages. So the financiers basically tell us, I don't care about you're having a completion bond or not, as long as you take care of the fact that you go over budget because you're the producer, so you should. But the producer says, I'm not going to do that because I cannot control all the elements on production. What if something happens? What's an accident if an accident happens? Or whatever, something that might not be covered under the production insurance. What if my actor doesn't show up just because? So yes, I can sue the agent, but there's a whole other thing that goes with that.
Mhm.
That's why the producer will not agree to do this kind of $50 million film unless he is not responsible for overages. So Sadie, you had said which one? Was it Sadie who said at the question?
C, yeah, because honestly, it sounds fine to me if we, I guess it depends how low the sale estimates are, and then we can just talk to the sales agent and see what we can do to raise the estimates. But honestly, it sounds okay.
Okay, so if a project for which the international sales estimates are lower must be reduced, project must be reduced so it to be feasible from point of view, okay. In a case in which 35% of budget was pre-sold international and the production incentives was 40% applicable, we still need to make sure that we have enough here. So I think on the surface, this might sound okay. My point would be that if I have incentives of 40% and I pre-sold 35, to me that would still be a questionable thing because theoretically, I don't know how low the estimates are here. So what are they? Are they 60%? Okay, maybe then I can deal with it because I can offset it here. What one should write here is what the estimates actually are. So let's say we're saying, to make it clearer, Sadie, right? To say, well, if the estimates are 50% and then the incentive is 40% and I sold 35%, meaning I'm only getting another 15%, in which case I wouldn't recoup, even with the incentives. So the reason why this makes no sense is because it is not told to me. I don't know what the estimates actually are. And without knowing what they actually are, I don't know if this is a feasible scenario. So I could change it to a number, but I could also just leave it like this and you don't know what they are. And then you just have to say to the sales agent, as you suggested, what are they and how can we offset them? But it is a conversation that needs to be had in order for this sentence to make sense. Your point is correct, but I'm trying to give you the little why it's not working, why it's not the right one. Does that make sense? So I'm going to keep this one, but this one I think was a great one to adjust. So thank you guys for that feedback. All right, here we are. We said, what did we say was correct in 4? I didn't write that down.
A.
Okay, let's see. Drum roll, please. Yeah, you wait for points. Good, moving on. Verifying market demand. An optimal chance for profit is provided with a project that is financed based on a solid finance plan. A solid finance plan mirrors the verified market value of a project. Even if we imagine we put together the financing in an optimal way, we want to make sure we can establish a value for the project in the marketplace. How can the market value for a project be verified based on the market feedback and or talent packaging that would indicate the likelihood for profit? Which of those make sense? 4 are correct. That's what I think.
Everything but A.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So we say everything but A. So I'm going to say
Yeah.
A. So
A is really, whoever's pitching that project is they've really got a lot of confidence in themselves.
I know, right? Yeah, which one do you think? Good one, guys. You know all this stuff.
Wait,
Okay.
sorry. So for 5, for A, if their goal is to do the festival route with that low of a budget, how is that not?
Well, it doesn't matter what their budget is. They have nothing. They have no funding for that budget.
Right, but they're not looking for like actual distribution. So international sales, that sounds fine because they're literally just looking
But
to do
how
the
are they going to
festival
make their
route.
movie with no money?
The point here is, Sadie, we're talking about in this question verification of the market demand. This verification does not take place in the scenario A. Can they do it the way you're describing? Sure. If an investor wants to issue a $250,000 check and say, I'm going to allow you go the festival route and we're going to see what happens, that's fine. Investors have the right to do that. You have the right to have an investor do that. But you then have to be honest and say, I'm going to make the movie. I'm going to go the festival route. I don't know how it's going to do because I have no feedback from anyone. And that's an honest conversation to be had. And you believe, I mean, a lot of investors do this. This is not uncommon. They're like, yeah, I have 250 lying around. I'm like, showing up on the red carpet and having fun. If I do that, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It happens. So the conversation here is about what is the verified market demand that we can apply. That's why A, correct. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so then how is C correct? Because 100 screens is not that many.
For a $2 million budget, it is.
And they also are getting a US distributor. So if you get a US distributor, you're more likely to get international distributors to put in more money.
Correct.
Especially with an A-list talent.
And they got an A-level actor.
Correct, Marilyn. Exactly. So it's a low budget. 100 screen release is considered a limited release in major cities. And that's not unusual for this kind of budget. It's actually pretty real. And it doesn't cost too much to create the campaign because the budget is lower. So they don't want to spend too much money, but they have A-level cast. So it's basically how you would release an art house movie. So let's say you have $2 million and Nicole Kidman's in it and she always wanted to play the role of this ugly duckling in the lead who goes through all the pain and maybe has a handicap, all these things that they love. So those kind of things do work. They have seen to work like in Landmark or ArcLight, like smaller releases. That's a limited release scenario that can actually make money.
Yeah.
Next, 6, still verifying market demand. When financing a project, the producer and the investor should ideally be aligned as it relates to risk mitigation and profit optimization. What are some of the risk minimizing statements one can make when financing a project in view of optimizing profits? So 3 are correct. Which ones do we think those are?
There's just a small typo at the top. Our Q6 is called risk diversification and profit optimization. So it's just a copy. You copy the question from Q5 to Q6.
Q5 to Q6, hold on. From here,
You see that, yeah, the question's called verify market demand in both cases, but Q6, we have a different just subject.
no, it is still verifying the market demand. It's still that subject.
In ours, it says risk diversification and profit optimization.
All right, thank
I
you.
think it's supposed to be both of them though, isn't it?
No, you're right and I'm wrong. Risk diversification. Thank you. Yeah, I put this on an Excel sheet. Minimization. Oh my God, my fingers are too big today. Okay. So do we have ideas on this one? Minimization. So quiet.
I'm pretty sure A and C are both correct.
Okay. So we're right on 26. You're thinking A and C.
And
Want one more.
I think B is correct too, though.
Yeah, we're feeling A, B, and C.
I don't know. What
Well,
about-
because I mean, if somebody puts in more money and it's just an individual investor, then they're gonna have a high risk if the movie fails. Whereas like it's split between the bank and the investor otherwise.
But I think that
Less
in this
risky for them
case,
individually.
I think in B, because the investor who invests more then becomes like the bank, he's the first one to recoup. So he doesn't have to wait until the end to get all the, so it wouldn't be that much of a risk, I guess.
Antonetta is
I'm
correct.
not sure if I explained that
No,
properly.
you're correct. Here's the thing. When we think about waterfall, it's like a waterfall, right? When the higher you're in the positioning, the lower your risk because you get money sooner. And the equity investor is usually behind the bank. So that's his position, right? If the equity investor takes over the bank position, his position doesn't change. He just makes more money because he's
I wasn't thinking about it in terms of waterfall, so that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it is actually not bad for you to have an equity investor take over the bank position. It is usually less expensive in the closing cost, and they make more money. I mean, it is a little more expensive in the sense that you might have to give a little more ownership and profit participation, but you also save in legal fees and interest. It's not the worst. For the equity investor, it makes sense. So are we saying ABC? Drum roll.
No, A is not, B is not, yeah.
So it's actually ACD.
Mm-hmm.
So no one said D, so let's look at that. Because maybe I'm wrong. A bank is looking at a project with 50% international sales estimates issued by a bankable sales agent. And the project is funded with 35% of the budget in subsidies and 35% through a US deal, which is cash flowed by the network. Okay, so we have that money. And the project has 20% pre-sales from a bankable distributor. So do we not just talk, oh, it's estimates up there, okay. All right, I'm gonna have to calculate this because this is a brain twister here. So we have 50% estimates, which is fairly low. It's not great, but let's see what else is going on here. Then we have 35% subsidies, 35% US, so that's 70%. 25% pre-sales, that's 90%. The bank is giving us 10%, that's 100%. producer feels this loan makes sense for the bank and the bank will approve it. Asked to lend 10% gap, which transfers to a gross gap of 15% of the budget, okay? So why is that not feasible? I mean, it looks like it's funded to me.
Yeah.
So all you need to do here is movie is funded. And the risk, there isn't any.
Yeah.
Should be fine. So D should be correct. And you guys had C was correct, A was correct, but B is not correct. So let's look at B. If you compare the risk profile for investor, yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will. Okay. Questions here? Let's go to 7. Distribution and financing. In some cases, sales agents are very keen on securing a project which they feel can be profitable and then offer a minimum guarantee to the producer to secure the project early. When it comes to profitable projects, producers have options. Which of the options below would be ideal for a producer if he would receive 20% of the budget as an MG from the sales agent, which the sales agent recoups first if the producer wanted to use that MG to close the financing? So what options make sense? Only 3 options make sense here.
ABC.
I'm gonna write it down. Let's see. Anyone else? Any takers?
I have A and C. I
We
would
see
say
one more because it's 3. So are we all agreeing on ABC? Take your time.
Yes.
If I'm too fast, take your time. Let's wait a little. Okay, we're still sticking with ABC. Drum roll. See, no.
I think there's a trap right here with the minimum guarantee coming in the first position.
Yes, Joseph, you caught it.
And so even if you get to 100, the bank is not going to be financing an amount with somebody ahead of them in the first position with the same collateral.
Exactly. He is right. And that's really why these two are different.
Oh,
So you have to think about the fact that
okay.
when the
Yeah.
sales agent gives you 20% as a minimum guarantee, he is recouping, obviously, when he sells. So here he gives you 20%, here's your check, great. And then he goes out, sells. And then from the sales that he makes, he recoups. If the bank would give you a loan, they would expect the same sales to come to them. And only one entity can recoup in this first position because the bank does not share their position with anyone. Unless, and we talked about this at some point, we have excluded certain territories in agreement with the bank, but the bank, where the bank says, oh, you know what, you can keep Thailand, you can keep, I don't know, Israel, whatever small territories that I don't need as collateral, I'll take those out. You can keep those, unless that conversation took place with the bank, which in many cases, you know, if it's an actual entertainment bank, it's not going to work. But if it's a bank-like institution, you can have that conversation. But unless a conversation like that took place, the bank is always going to recoup first. So you cannot use a gap loan in any of these scenarios because you are taking the minimum guarantee from the sales agent. That means B and C are not going to work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. Question 8, solid finance plan. Balancing the various financial elements available to producers when funding their film or television project is as important as knowing which finance source to choose and how to fit them together in an optimal way. Circle financial elements that balance a financial plan out most optimally in view of profits for the producer. 3 of these scenarios make sense for the producer and 1 does not. Take your time and let me know which one you think those are.
A and B both make sense,
A and B?
I think. I
Yeah,
think so.
I chose A and B too.
Yeah. Just working on the other one.
I think C is incorrect because I don't know why they would use less incentives if they have a chance to get more.
Is it even possible to get a production incentive loan at 50% of the budget?
Yes, it is. Victoria in Germany and Belgium.
Oh,
Yeah,
And Puerto Rico.
and Puerto Rico. Exactly.
oh, we talked about this. That's right.
And there's the magical,
I very, very clearly remembered.
there's the magical double dipping of code treaty countries, which I need to learn more about.
Magical is a nice word. Okay, I have A and B. Give me one more, please. Children.
D.
Okay,
Yeah, D.
we're agreeing on D, A, B, D.
I'll go with D.
You go with D. All right, Marilyn. Drum roll. La la la. A, B, and D.
Yay!
Well done, girls and boys. 9, collateral. Every bank, investor, and financier requires security, the collateral against their funding provided to a project. Circle the correct letter for collateral used against the amount funded for the following. 4 makes sense, the others do not. Take your time.
I have to admit, 3 pre-sales was funny to me. On number A, where you said that you only need 3 pre-sales for bankable distributors.
Minimum,
Yeah,
which
I
is
don't know. I was just thinking that was kind of funny.
A makes sense. So I say
Yeah,
at least.
A is
A.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say C is correct.
C.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so as well.
I would say E is incorrect.
Agreed.
I would say F is correct.
Yeah, I have F.
Okay, one more.
G is correct.
Okay. So we're going A, C, F, G. Drum roll. A, D, F, G. So let's look at this. Let's look at D because no one mentioned that. Most mezzanine lenders would review the unused collateral of a bank, which would be providing a gap loan for a project, and lend against such unused collateral because this is small. Because a gap loan requires 200% of the loan amount to be covered by unsold territories as projected by a bankable sales agent who leaves the balance of 100% available. It's a very complex sentence, but what it basically means is that when you have a mezzanine lender, what they look at is what the bank didn't use. So when a bank gives you 20% gap loan, it looks at sales estimates of 40% to cover that. The mezzanine lender will look at what else is there and what is the bank not using. So the mezzanine lender knows while the bank requires 40% collateral, it will only use 20. The unused portion, that 20%, is what the mezzanine lender often looks at as their portion of security, because they know the bank is only going to use 20% because they're only giving you 20% of the budget. So they're not going to need the 40.
Yeah.
So I know it's written a little convoluted, but in the essence, what it means is the mezzanine lender will use what the bank didn't use. And because the bank collateral is so massive that they hold on to twice the money they give you, only using half of it because that's all you pay back, that leaves a lot available for a mezzanine lender or an equity lender in that case. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Good. So ADFG for question 9.
Yay.
10. We're financing a project, and we have been offered the following financial elements. We got tax credits, we got equity, we got mezzanine, we got crowdfunding, we got bank integration, we got a gap loan, we got a minimum guarantee from the sales agent. This is what's on the offer. Doesn't mean we have to use it all, but this is what's being offered to us. So the producer decides to put the film together, even if there are even though there's no pre-sales established. What deal would the producer negotiate to move the film into production? So what are we thinking? One answer is correct. Everything else is not happening.
Then that means D is the correct answer. Because I believe there's another trap here, because you have to take the minimum guarantee or the bank gap.
You're such a smart cookie. Yes, it's a trap. Let me see if that's true. If I'm saying the right thing, I might be wrong. Yes.
I'm just good at finding traps. Not
You're good at finding them. You should be working for the FBI, man. Yes.
Or like
Because
maybe like a professional at an escape room or something.
that, right? Human finance escape room. Why not? It is true. It's the same thing. We have all these things offered, but we can't use them all. That's basically what it comes down to in this question. What can we actually use, and is it then enough? And it's not enough because we're still missing money. Is that making sense, guys?
Yes.
Right. 11. That's a big ass question. It's basically all the confusion. What does the collection agent do and what do they not do? They do 7 things. And they're not doing, I think, one of them. So it's probably easier to find the one that they don't do. But take a look at what collection agents do, what their role is, how they operate, and then you tell me what they don't do. And then we're pretty much there.
I think it's C.
You think they don't do C?
Yeah.
Release the film in their country.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, isn't the money in this case like going to the distributor to the distributors first, which is like a bad idea?
Once a distributor releases the film in their country and achieve revenues in excess of the distribution payment they already paid, they would deduct agreed distribution fees and expenses and pay an agreed split of the overages in the collection account. How is that not making sense?
Because the distribution fees are in the comma.
We're talking about a local distributor here. let's say you sell a movie to Germany. Germany pays $1 already as a minimum guarantee, and then they release the movie in Germany. And then they have box office that is $5 million, let's say. So they're going to deduct what they already gave you, which
Oh,
is $5. So
yeah, I see.
and then
I
they're going
see.
to deduct all the costs that they had in relation to releasing the film in their territory. And then they're going to deduct their distribution fee. That's
Right.
all the
right.
things that they're allowed to deduct per the license agreement that they did with you, meaning with you through the sales agent. And then whatever is left, they share with you, and that's the overage. And these overages go into the collection account.
So then it's gotta be G, because
I would say
it's
G.
not their
Yeah.
job to call people and tell them
Right,
to
they're
pay
not
up.
like a regular collection agency. that
They-
That's
calls
your
you.
job as a producer, right?
That is true. That is not what they do. I know they're called collection agents, and you would think they call up and say, "Where's my money?" But they don't do that. Thank you, guys. That's correct. Everything else is actually what they do. There we go. I have no idea. 4 points. Yes. All right. Number 12, the completion bond. The film is produced with a completion bond company. The producer has secured 100% of the financing, equity, sales, etc., etc. He's ready to start production. When would she get access to the funding? 2 answers are correct.
E and C.
I have C.
So we're thinking,
I got B and C as well.
any other takers?
Yeah. I'm B and C as well.
Mina, 11 was everything but, Mina asked the question, everything but G. Everything's correct with the exception of G. I'm just looking at the chat here. Sorry for the interruption. By the way, I'm sharing obviously the PowerPoint with you, and so you have that. But, or maybe I should just the answer. Okay, who knows? We'll think about it. 2. Did we say E and C, or what did we say? There's no
B
E.
and C.
What am I talking about?
Mhm.
B and C is what we're saying. Yeah. Let me write that down. B and C. Yes. So now we have a fun case study, I believe. We love these so much, don't we? So for that, so we're dealing with a movie that is being theatrically released. It's very similar to the final prep case study you did. A lot of you did very well on that, so thank you. You guys, I think, have this on your printed out thingies, so I can move the slides and you still have the assumptions in front of you. Yes, because I'm going to need one of you to walk me through them when the slide goes. I'm going to go into, yes, Joseph, question?
We have a different case study, Journey Through the
Yeah.
Maze. You have Oh Boy, Kill Me
Oh,
Now.
that's great. So why don't we just forget about this one then, and let's do the proper one. Okay, so let me look this up here. To make sure we have the right-
It's another trap.
Another trap! I have to actually find this one. Okay, but we can still do it. Doesn't matter, we all do it together then. Who cares? Let me find the study on the temp. I'm going to try to find the temp for this so we can note here, put the wrong title. So then I'm definitely going to have you guys walk me through this so we can do this together. So I suggest that you download the Excel. If you can, at least one of you. Let me see if I even have done this before. Probably not, which is great. So then we can do it together from scratch. Look.
Oh my God.
Bless you.
The
Thank you.
Yeah.
oh, never mind. I was gonna say that it's the wrong template, but you just put the one for "Oh boy, kill me now." I don't know if you meant to put a different one in here for the actual question, or if this is fine for a template.
I think it might work for the
think
template.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
All right, so I'm going to use the same template you have, which should be this one here. Could be that one. I'm just going to change the title. Journey through Maze.
One question. You said to submit 3 different attachments, but can we do it here with the top sheet and the recoupment and budget on the same workbook?
Of course you can.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
It doesn't really matter to me how you do it, as long as you get to an answer that makes sense. Or at least close enough, let's put it that way. So I'm going to have someone walk me through these assumptions. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start with the budget. So in the case study, there are certain items listed for these budget things. So if someone can walk me through this, that'd be great. So I can get our budget done. Okay.
It's 25,000 for rights.
All right, then. So you're going to help me with this. Thank you. So we're going to do 25,000 for rights. Okay.
For writing, you have 150,000.
Okay.
Development is 75,000.
Mm-hmm.
Producers and staff, 850,000. Talent is this skips around a bit. What is next for you? Director and staff is 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Talent is 2.5 million.
Okay.
All right. Production staff, 500,000.
Okay.
Camera is 250,000. Set construction is 25,000. Location is 50,000. Other production period allowances is 5.2 million.
Okay.
Editorial is 320,000.
Mm-hmm.
Film post is 260K. VFX 320K. Music is 120K. Other post allowances is 650K. Expenses and legal fees is 250. And then yeah, the rest I think.
Yeah, all the other stuff is automatically. So our budget for this one looks like it's 13,719,105. We'll have to write this down somewhere.
I have a question regarding the contingency formula. I mean, the completion bond fee.
Mm-hmm.
You are excluding the legal rights from it, but if you're using the subtotals, the legal fees are not included in the subtotal. So you're subtracting an item that is not included in that total.
Hold on a second. So I'm right now the subtotal. Why is the legal fee not in there? What the hell? So I have above the line, below the line, below the line, below the line, above the line, below the line is in here.
Because the subtotal is only adding above the line and below the line.
All right,
Like,
so let me add. That's a formula mistake. Thank you. So we have what is not in there, legal, right? The 1.4.
The legal and the financing costs are not. All the other post-production.
Does it say in the assumption that legal and financing were excluded from bonding or from contingency? No, it doesn't say anything like that, yeah?
yeah, no, it doesn't say anything.
Okay, so we
Yes, it says legal from, it is included, but not financing.
So legal is included for contingency?
Excluded.
For bonding,
Mm-hmm.
but not from contingency.
Yes, I was talking about the bonding.
Okay, so let's first do the contingency to make sure we have that correctly. So the contingency is 5%. And right now the contingency is just going by the total. The total
Is
does
it-
not include, hold on, I want to think this through. The total does not include financing cost and expenses. Yes, Joseph, go.
The 5% is which budget? Just the whole budget or 5% with certain exclusions?
Exactly, that's why I asked if there were mentioned exclusions in the case study. I don't think
It says,
for
it
contingency.
says, the completion bond allows the following exclusions: rights, writer, development, production and staff, and legal from the bonded budget, which in turn reduces the completion bond fee in the budget. That's it.
Okay, so these exclusions we have to think about, but the budget we have to establish. The budget is these two, but we need to add the financing cost. And we need to add the legal fees, correct? That's our budget. Oh, fuck off. What the hell is going on? Sorry. It's so bad. Jeanette, you don't do that. Don't do that. All right, yeah, I'm thinking to now. This one and this one needs to be added. Let's see if it does it like that. Doesn't do it.
Yeah, it becomes a circular formula.
Ah, come on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by hand.
Side calculation.
Side calculation. So the budget.
You can use like M or N to then build a side.
The who?
I'll be quiet. You're the
What are
next
we doing?
one.
What?
You could put a side calculation to the right-hand side.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do it normally, like normal people do. This one is this. Oh, this doesn't work. Sorry. It doesn't work. I'm just going to do a side calculation. You're right. I'm going to do a side calculation. So I'm going to do 11 million 545 1, 2, 3 und dann.
So it's the total of, so the contingency is 10% of the total of above the line, below the line, and then the general expenses and legal fees and the indirect costs in financing.
Above the line, below the line, the indirect financing cost and the legal fees. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was able to put it in as like in parentheses and then times
It works.
0.05. Yeah, if you put the sum in parentheses and then times it by 0.05, then it worked.
Okay, I'm just going to make this 12,949,000. Did you get to 12,949,500, Victoria?
I did.
I did too.
12,949,500. So I'm just going to put that in just so we have the right number. Is it changing something else now?
Oh, that was, so there's a different subtotal. Oh, there's a different subtotal now. Yeah, sorry. I didn't adjust that one yet.
Okay, so the bond company is excluding legal. It excludes story, right? It excludes all these. So that seems to be correct.
Question.
Yeah.
But you have a lower strike price, so why don't you need to subtract the in-kind as well? Or does that not matter? For the
Well,
2%.
we'll get to that. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out what my actual budget is. I'm going to go to the strike price later when I figure out what the case study is. First, I'm trying to figure out what am I spending? What am I doing here? What is my actual cost? So that's what we're doing right now. Just a general budget. We're trying to figure out what do we need to deal with. So right now, I've gotten the budget with your help. Thank you very much. And I'm now figuring out what is my completion bond fee. And the completion bond allows me not to charge the 2% on certain areas which I'm excluding. And those are the legal fees, the story rights, the writing, the development, and the producer fees. So those will not be subject to the 2% fee. So I'm taking those out. Everything else is subject to the 2% fee. And I'm getting to 219.41. Do you guys have that too? Victoria, can you check? Because I think you did the.
Yes, I got that.
Yeah, I got that.
Katie, you got that? Okay,
I think I
great.
must have just written something wrong because I got 217. So I just am $2 away, but yes.
Close enough. We'll take the $2. $2. Okay, so we got the budget done. That's something. Okay, so now we're going to go into our assumptions. Some of it will probably already populate. Let's start with the budget. So this is the budget. I just took it over. And then we're going to go to strike price. The strike price is the budget minus, we had some in-kind here. What was it? I think we had music investment, and we have to figure that out. We haven't done that yet. So we leave the strike price open for now.
VFX and music are the,
Okay, so I'm gonna just leave it alone for now. It's gonna populate.
So
So
the
the
this second page on my template that I downloaded.
page on the template?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, same.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do when I'm done with this thing, I'm gonna send you all the template, and then you can, I'm just gonna zero this out, and I'm gonna send you the template then. Yeah? Victoria, can you send me your Excel so I don't have to figure out the formula?
For which? For
For
the top
Question,
sheet?
we're done here with everything, because you have the formula in yours. Your fancy
I
schmancy
do.
Right.
I'm just fixing up the thing I had wrong, so
Okay.
it's just taking a
When
second.
you're done, you send it to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to restructure the whole thing, which I don't want to do.
The
My
template that I've
template is called updated question 13.
Yeah.
I have the
The one
same
that I
one. too.
downloaded from the mod or the actual. final.
I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna upload into the final. Let's make it very easy for everyone who's not also here. I'm gonna upload into the final the proper template. That's all we're gonna do. But I'm gonna take Victoria's budget because she has the fancy schmancy formula in there. And then I'm gonna zero her template out, and then you have that. So you don't have to think about the formula either. And can keep it for future projects. Yay. So
Amazing.
here's what we're going to do. This is populating, but we're going to walk through it anyway, because I want you to know what we're doing here. So we just now did the budget together. Thank you. In the assumptions, it says that our sales estimates are going to be 80% of the budget. So that is 80% of the budget that we just figured out. These are just the estimates. This is a guess of what we're hoping to be making with the movie internationally. That's what the estimates are. So this is just basically a number that the sales agent feels comfortable with. We haven't done anything yet. Next thing is our pre-sales. Now we're doing something with it. We're going to start doing these pre-sales, and they are in your case study. You show there that 10% of the budget is paid for by Germany. And then Germany gives you an advance of that of 20%. So their down payment is 20% of what they're paying you, which is 10% of the budget here, right? 10% of the budget is 1,500,000 and some change. 20% of that is 307 and some change. Italy is giving us 7% of the budget and pays down 15% when they sign a deal with us. The UK gives us 8% of the budget and they're paying down 20%. France gives us 9% of the budget. They're also paying down 20% on signing. So we're summing it all up and we're getting to tier 1 territories altogether in sales of 5,222,728.27. And then we're just summing up all the down payment that we have, and we get to 990,000 and some change. That's all we're doing for tier 1. Tier 1 are the territories that the bank considers stronger territories, less risky territories. The tier 2 territories are, bank looks at them as we may or may not get our money for this. So India and China each paid 0.5% of the budget, and they each paid 10% down. So for our calculation, we need to obviously put it all together. So here is tier 1, tier 2 all together. And here are all the down payments that we got from these people. And then the sales agent says, I want 6% of this. So whatever you're getting, I want 6% of. So they're getting 6% of the money that we received at this point, and all we received as a producer is the down payment. So available for us right now as the first financing source is the down payment at 945,744. Is that so? Does anyone have questions about this part so far? Okay, great. So let's go into the next thing. So we're doing our bank loan. So the bank says we like tier 1 territories and we're giving you 93% of that value. And that is 93% of the tier 1 total that we received on paper. So the contracts we get, they come to 5.2 million and some change. And the bank says, thank you for your paper. Thank you for your contracts. I'm giving you 93% of your contracts as a loan against those contracts. Right? And for the tier 2 ones, I'm a little nervous. I'm only giving you 60% of the contracts. So that ends up being a pre-sale loan of $4,949,000 and some change. Because we already received the down payment from our distributors, the bank says, you already got the money, I'm not giving it to you again. All I'm giving you therefore is $3,943,159.80. And I'm charging you an interest on that of 8%. So all you're left with right now is $3,627,707. Any questions so far on how I got there? We clear? Okay. So the unsold territories are basically, we're taking all the territories that we've sold and we're deducting them from what our estimates are. Because these are actual territories, they're now gone. We need to take them out of the bucket of all the estimates, of all the rights that we have put together as an estimate of what we can make with our movie. So all I did here is I take all the territories that are sold and I deducted them from my estimates. Is that clear? So we're getting to unsold right of 6.9 million. The bank says, I'm considering giving you 50% of what you haven't sold yet, which would be the gap loan. We have to be careful though and say, well, is it more than 20% of the budget? Because the bank will never give me more than 20% of my budget, and it is. So I can only ever ask for $3,072,193, which is 20% of my budget. That's all I'm getting as a gap loan. I'm not getting a dime more, no matter how much the value for the unsold territory is. The bank will never give me more than that. So that's why the 20% of the budget cap is all I'm getting right now. So I'm paying 12% interest, hallelujah. And I'm left with 2,700,000 and some change. So I'm summing up my gross loan because I have to know how much I have to pay back. The gross bank loan has me also pay back the interest fees that I have to pay. And my net loan. But here's the thing that I need you to tell me. What's my loan fee? It's somewhere in there. I'm going to get a loan fee charged by the bank.
65,000.
How much?
65,000.
And then what was the legal fee?
25,000.
Sorry. Oh, come on. Be nice. My Excel is blocking. Oh, that's just great. That's just great. Let me see if I can save as. I'm going to put today's date on it. 6/12/21. I'm going to go on the desktop. Yeah, it's not saving. I hate this. Oh, la, 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 la. Okay, if this doesn't change, I'm going to have to make one of you co-hosts and we continue with one of your screens. I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to just lock everything else down. I'm going to take that. Save. Let's save it. Maybe there's too much going on my screen here. That's not reacting. For
Also, if anybody's struggling to find the template, if you go on Canvas and pull up the final prep journey to Bali, it's the exact same template on Excel.
I'm going to update the template.
Okay.
Don't worry about it, Kyle. The template on there is wrong anyway. So I'm going to just give you a proper one. I'm going to just update it, but I'm not able to do this. Victoria.
Yes.
Were you following on your Excel?
I didn't have this one open.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
I didn't see it on the
email
on the
this.
page.
I think I'm gonna try to email this to you, and then I'm gonna make you co-host.
I
Oh,
have it
gosh.
up, if that's easier.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to.
Ah, okay, who,
Katrina, yeah, I have it. I did it already, so it should be up to date.
okay, perfect. Katerina, let me email it to you real quick.
Oh, I have it. Oh,
Have it
or,
up? Okay,
okay.
let me make you co-host. What the hell? Why am I not seeing you? Hold on here. I'm gonna make you co-host so you
Okay.
can share. Hold on, let me just wait a second. I'm just gonna try it one more time. Maybe it just needs a minute. Let me just get rid of everything here that's open. This is that's all closed. Let me just. That's not reacting. All right. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gonna have you share your. I'm gonna unshare my screen. I'm gonna say stop share. Oops. I don't know what's going on here with my Excel. Okay, Katarina, can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm getting a host disabled participant screen sharing notification.
Hold on. Let me try this again. I make you co-host. Why can it not do this?
If you go to share screen, there's an option that says like multiple users enabled or something like that.
Yeah, I will mark that. Okay, try it again, Katerina. Thank you.
It looks like it's gonna work now.
Okay, great. Perfect. Oh, thank you so much for doing this. So I think we got stuck at the legal fee. How much was the legal fee?
25,000.
All right, perfect. So the loan amount then is 2,041,236.98. So the interest rate, I think that was in the case study, was per year, and your job is to consider the fact that the term is a 2-year term, and that you are going to have to double that up. Yes. So that's why you see maybe a higher number here in the Excel than what you were seeing in the case study. I just want to make sure that's understood. So then we put in all the other finance elements. No, mezzanine, we're going to have to look at a little closer later, because I believe the mezzanine loan was 15% of the actual cost. Is that correct, Katarina? Can you look at that real quick? Where's this going? Where's the E4 going? Yeah, correct. So we're going to get to that. So that will go through the strike price, and we're going to talk about the strike price in a minute. Leave that alone for now. And then the things like crowdfunding, brand integration are all going to be added. What you have to remember with each of those, crowdfunding is 5% of the actual budget. We're paying a 25% commission to the advertising agency. And we are also deducting $20,000 that we already received and that we have used for development funding. So you're left with 556.36 in the end. And then we get brand integration that we can use 50% of right now. And then the other 50% is going to be paid when we deliver the movie. So we have to remember that when we get into the recoupment structure. And then we have in-kind services for the visual effects company who gives us $320,000 worth of current services. And we have a music investor. And those two were budgeted line items that we now don't have to pay because they are paying for it. And because we can now take them out, it reduces our budget. So the budget, can you go up real quick so I can make sure that it is actually $440,000 less? So $15,366.95 would be $440,000 less, getting us to a strike price of $14,920,000 and some change. So that's the strike price that we're actually dealing with, and that's the number that we need to finance. Let's go back down. I want to see where we are with the equity. So when we figure out how much money do we have and how much money do we need to fund, go all the way to the end, we get to a subtotal of 12 million and some change. And then we have to figure out how much more do we need to get to the strike price. And we need 15.262% in equity, which is 2,399,000. So that's how we are establishing the finance plan so far. Any questions about this portion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Simple question on equity. Sometimes the calculation with just 2 points or 2 numbers after the decimal gets hairy because Excel will round it up. When you're doing your calculations or or setting up the CAMA agreement, how many spaces do you go after the decimal? 4?
Usually it's only 2, but for some reason I have seen this to be more than that. And that's why sometimes I have to put it in by hand. So when I see here, it gives me 15.62%. I'm deleting that number and I'm just writing in 15.62% to be sure. I'm using it in the beginning to understand, okay, what's my equity? And then I'm writing it in per hand so that my comma in relation to the profit participation that I later pay to the equity has the right number.
Because rounding up can end up tens of thousands of dollars.
Correct.
Later. Okay.
I know, but I'm going 2 points after the comma.
For simplicity. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
for simplicity. So that's what I do for comma. That's what I do for most.
Another question on equity I had while doing these, relevant to all of them is, and I know there's your practice and then there's whatever people are set up, but is the equity investor, are you calculating their equity percentage based off the strike price or the whole price? Meaning the whole budget?
I'm doing the whole budget. Very good question, Joseph. I'm so happy you asked that. I'm doing the whole budget and here's why. The budget, even if elements of it are deferred, are still costs that you will incur. For the equity investor, it's irrelevant when you're paying the bills, when you're paying the cost. You have to pay them. It's part of your cost process. So while you're saving the equity investor money, he still have to acknowledge that you have to pay deferments, and they're likely going to be paid before he sees his money, because your deal with the equity investor is, here's the budget, it's 15 million and some change. Some of it I'm going to pay later, which is why you're going to pay less equity, but I am going to pay it at some point. And before you make all your money back, I'm going to have to pay these people. So for a contractual deduction allowance paragraph, long word, you have to make sure that the equity investor understands the entire budget is 15 million, 15.6 million. Does that make sense?
Yes, I specifically, it's been in my mind because in one of the last videos, I don't know how to say this gentleman's last name is Cashin Ellis.
Cashin, yeah.
He talks about producing a film where the equity investor, I believe, put up 50% of the budget, but got 100% of the equity, which might have been a situation where they really wanted to make the film, but it was abnormal. So
it was abnormal. Did he say he got 100% of everything? I don't remember that in the interview.
I'll find it. I just stuck in my mind.
Because how do we, if you got, I have to actually look at that.
Because also some of our templates in the Excel sheets, that equity percentage was calculating off the gross budget and other ones were coming off the strike price. So I wanted to know what the rule was.
The rule is it comes off the budget.
Thank you.
Yes, it should be here too. Can you check that, Catalina? Can you look at the formula and tell me where it's going? No, that's the amount we need, but the percentage. Can you go on the percentage real quick? I just want to see if it goes to the budget or not. Yeah, it goes to the budget. See, it's a percentage of the budget, and that's what it needs to be.
Now I have a further question then on that strike price, which I asked earlier, but other things were going on. The strike price we have there is, I believe, $440,000 less. Shouldn't a bond company be taking their 2% from 14.9 million minus the exclusions versus going from 15.3 minus exclusions?
the bond company still insures visual effects and music. They're not going to
Okay.
allow that to go out.
So they'll still be liable for it.
Yes. And for
Thank
the
you.
bond company, it doesn't matter if you're excluded or not excluded. They don't care when you paid. They just want it to be insured, and so would you, because you don't want any trouble there. You only would exclude things that you control, where you know you're not going to have a risk. So when you pay yourself, you're not going to have a risk. The writers and story rights are usually paid on the first day anyway, so there's not going to be any risk because they're already gone, they're already paid.
Understood.
Legal
Thank you.
things you control, so you take those out. But the visual effects is something that you want the one company to insure, because many times visual effects goes over budget, one of those things. And the music you want them to insure, just in case someone comes around the corner and says, you are not allowed to use this, don't have a sync license for it, and stupid stuff like that. So those elements you do want to insure, which is why you pay the fee for them. But that's a very good question. Okay, my Excel's still not working. I tried it in between here, but it's still not doing what it's supposed to be doing. I think my computer is giving up on me.
It makes you more relatable as a professor. I don't feel bad about my messages saying I couldn't figure this out.
Ha, thank you. Hey, I half the time don't know how to figure this out. Trust me. Oh, it's working now. Speaking of the devil. All right, I'm gonna go, Katerina, let me try to go back in. Do a stop, share, and then I'm going to go back in and see how far I get. But please, continue on your sheet as well in case I lose my shit again here. Excuse my French. So let's try this one more time. Katerina, let me know if I have the right number, yeah? Okay. I'm gonna, is this the bank loan number that you had? 2,241,000? Sorry, 6,241,000. Was that the bank loan available at closing?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's do this again. So we're going mezzanine. The mezzanine is 15% of the strike price per the, by the way, which is wrong right now, it's going to change in a minute, per the agreement that we have with them. Then we're paying them 5% interest. This is also going to change in a minute. We have 5% of the budget going to crowdfunding. 20,000 we already got and spent. Brand integration was on, production incentives was on below the line. Let me just go to below the line here. This one. And then how much brand integration did we have? Can someone give me the number real quick?
650,000.
Okay, so 25% goes to the agency. So we got that. And then visual effects was 320,000, right? In music was 120?
Yes, 120 for me.
Why do I have 15.52? I know you had 15.62. What is wrong here?
I'm double checking.
Let me check. What is your subtotal, Katerina?
12,521,000.
Yeah, legal fees are missing, Jeanette, under production incentives.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I knew there was some. Thank you. How much was it?
25,000. Oh.
Still not the same than you have. Something else is missing.
No, I think it's 15,000.
Sorry,
15,000.
15,000? Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong legal fees.
It's okay. We're there. Hallelujah.
Yep.
Now I feel your pain. All right. So let's go to our recoupment sheet. We are putting our international sales estimates here, which is basically just the estimate that we have here. We are deducting the down payment because we already received it and we used it to finance our movie, which leaves us with 11 million. Now let's talk about box office. How much box office was in the case study?
20 million.
So 20 million ticket sales are made. Of that, the exhibitor, meaning the theater owner, gets 45%. Let's see how much that is, which leaves us with $11 million. Our P&A investor says, I'm going to give you $1,500 per screen, and we're releasing the movie on 1,500 screens. So that means we're paying him, or we're getting from him first 2.5 million. He wants 12.5%, so we have to pay him. So altogether, we have to pay 2.2 plus 2 and 1, and we're left with 8 million, because we're just deducting this. We're left with 8,468,750 at this point. Paramount Pictures is charging us a distribution fee of 25%. So we have to deduct that. And we're left with US revenues of 5,718,750. So if I add my US to my international, I should get 17 million and some change in revenues from the world. And I'm going to add my branding here because I'm still getting that at the end. So I'm ending up with 17,245,129. Any questions about this part? You guys are clear on that? Okay, great. So now we start paying people. We have the collection agent who basically gets a percent of whatever hits the collection agent account. And then they had a setup fee. How much was the setup fee?
40,000.
Okay. So then we're getting the bank loan that we're paying back. Then we have, was that the right bank loan amount? Let me just, I feel like it looked different earlier. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. Do we not have to add? We have to add loan fee and legal fee to this. Hold on, let me add this. Plus this, plus this. Because they just deducted it. They haven't paid it yet. So that's our new bank loan. It's the bank loan plus the loan fee and the legal fee. How much do we have to pay the guilds?
850,000.
Okay. The mezzanine is that. Was there no premium? There is a premium, 10%. Was there a producer fee to the mezzanine lender?
75,000 payable, deferred, behind premium.
Got it. So that's where that goes. Then we have the equity. They want 20% on their money. And here's where we're paying our in-kind back. And we're paying a premium of 10% to them, which is where this money comes. So now all our expenses are 15,435,770.84. Do you have this, Katarina?
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone have a question about this part?
I do.
Go.
Just on kind of rules and structure. So the brand integration, it's going into the gross, but then it's being used to pay the sales agent. That means basically on that second payment, you have a combined, you're losing 38% on that amount.
Hold on a second. The sales agent should not pay for sales fees. The sales agent should only be charging fees on what they're getting.
Okay, got it. So it completely, all the total revenues, it's not applicable to them, just what they've sold.
Correct.
Okay.
Where is
Thank you.
E5? What the hell? Where is E5? Here we go. There, unsold territories only.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
Understood.
then 6% is just the balance of the down payment because we only paid 6% in the beginning. So now we have to pay the other 6%. Does that make sense? Because we already paid mezzanine, everything else. I feel like there's something missing here though. Where's my sales for the actual sales? Hold on. There, it's just the down payment though. You know what I'm missing here? I can tell you. I'm missing my sales, my regular sales. Because this is just for the down payment, so we have to add those. Does it tell you what it's charging for the pre-sales? How much it's charging for pre-sales? How much is the sales agent charging for pre-sales is the question, I guess. Does it say that? I think it's a different number. I want to say it's 12%, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have it in front of me.
Wouldn't it be the 6% in line 40
column E.
The 6% is going to my down payment, I believe. Or is it?
Yeah, pre-sale agent fee.
Yeah, it's deducting the down payment. You're right. Right number. I'll take it all back. Thank you. I already put it in there. I was like, hold on a second. Something's missing. Okay, so we got everyone paid. So now this is our profit because we have expenses minus our revenues. And now we're paying people back in relation to what they are supposed to be getting contractually, which is what the case study tells us. It says, pay the mezzanine 5%, pay the crowdfunder 1%, pay the talent 30%, pay the equity 40% because they're greedy buggers. And then you're left with $434,000. Right? And then we're doing our ROI calculation and figuring out what's the equity investor actually making. So I'm going to basically go by the profit that he got, the premium that he got, because these are the things he's making. This is the money that he's making on his money. Mina, the formula for 6% for the sales agent is telling you to calculate 6% on the pre-sales. That's what that formula is. Minus the down payment 6% because you already paid it. Does that make sense? You had a question.
Jeanette, do we need to adjust the interest rates for the loans?
Are they for
Because
term?
the senior bank loan is at 6% for the gap and
Yeah,
4% for the pre-sale.
Right. Yes, and we have 2 years, which is
So
why
we
the
double it.
8 and the 6% is 12. Makes sense, William? Great. So, any questions about this?
I have a question, Jeanette, just quickly on the bank loan.
Yeah.
What's the formula for that one?
The bank loan? Which bank loan part?
The expenses, bank loan gross.
Ah, yeah, here. This one is your gross bank loan, which is here. Hold on. Which is here.
Oh, I see you added legal,
added
the
fee and
loan and legal fee. Okay, thank you.
They didn't actually pay them. They just deducted them. So we still have to pay that. So we need to add that here.
Okay, thank
The
you.
idea behind it is, and we haven't done this before, but the idea behind it is that you haven't given the bank any money actually. They just deducted stuff. They deducted the interest, they deducted the legal fee, they deducted the loan fee, they're deducting everything. But since you haven't paid them anything, you need to still pay that, and you pay that in the recoupment. So all the bank related costs will hit you when you go into the recoupment schedule. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, can we go over the ROI calculation again?
ROI.
Thank you.
We're looking at the investment, which is 2.3 million. That's what the investor gives us, right? So let's write this down together. I'm going to just write it down. 2,399,005.08. I'm just going to write this down here. So now, what is he getting? He's getting 20%, which is this is the first amount he's getting, right? 400. Why don't I do this? I'm just going to make a side calculation here so it's easier. So we have our equity investment. We start with that, which is 2,399,000. We have, they're making, first 20% is here. And then they're also making a profit, which is here. So if I look at what they're making on their money, this plus this. This is what they're actually making. They're making $1.2 million on 2.3. It's a pretty nice return, right? So how much is the relationship to that? So I'm going in and I'm going, okay, let's look at the relationship. I'm saying I'm deducting, well, I can basically just do this, I guess. Usually I do it like this, divided by that. I think it's the right one, if I'm not mistaken. Now let me see if that's the right formula real quick. Percentage might not be the right one. That's the other way around. I always do that wrong. should be like that. That's also not the right percentage. How the fuck did I do this? Hold on. Let me look how I got to the percentage. Profit plus premium plus investment minus investment. Okay, I did that wrong. So you're taking your profits, you're taking taking your premium, and you're taking the investment, and then you're just taking the investment and dividing it. And then you get to the percentage. So it's basically this amount divided by this amount, and then you get to that amount. That's how it should be. So this is actually not correct. I better delete this. Because you need to just stick in the little universe of the investment to figure out what is actually just from the point of view of the investor, the money that they're making with the investment. So that's why you take profit plus premium plus investment, and then you take the investment and you divide that. You divide this amount by this amount. That's how you calculate it.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So I'm going to make a temp out of this, and I'm going to send it. I'm going to upload that temp into the final. And then what you guys do, if you enjoy yourself a lot with this, you can feel free to do it again to make sure you understand it, or you just send it in, and then we're done with this portion of the finals. I'm sorry for the little technical hiccup here. No one's perfect, I guess.
I have
Hey, Jeanette, question.
Yeah, please go.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah, so just in general, for an equity investor, like what is the ROI percentage range that would be considered to be a good range for them?
I would say if you go by, well, what I don't like to do is yearly, but you have to kind of figure it out yearly. So when I do a business plan, I lay it out for 5 years. And if I don't hit at least 20 to 25 a year, I'm trying to work with the numbers a little bit, for lack of a better word, because you want to be in a range where it's interesting to them. And if it's under 20%, it's a little tough to sell per year. So if we have a 3-year term or a 2-year term, in this case, it's fine because our term is 2 years. But in a regular business, when I run a regular business plan, I give myself 5 years for equity in the calculation that I show them. And therefore, I do a cash flow analysis where I show 20% at minimum per year. And the way that usually works for me is if I have more than one project in there. So if it's just one project, it's a little easier to project because we're basically saying to the equity investor, the bank is going to take 2 years, might take another year for you. So it's about the 3-year term. And then it becomes a 66%. We're about the 20%. So that's okay. But if I do a slate, for example, which I usually do when I do these business plans, I have money coming in, and then I'll take the money and spend it back on the next project. So I have a different kind of cash flow plan when I have more projects. For a slate, let's say I do 10 movies, and let's say I produce those 10 movies in 3 years, right? Or in 2 years. Usually I try to do it in the first 2 years. So by the time the second movie is produced, the first one is already starting to give me money. So I use that money and reinvest it. And that's how I can run a 5-year term and make it still interesting enough with a 20% return, because I'm using the return from one movie to finance the next one. Does that make sense? So the answer is, depending on what kind of a business plan you do, you want to stick to at minimum 20%. But many people don't just do one movie when they do a larger business plan. They do more than one, and then they run it over a term of 5 years, which is okay for investors. When you do one movie, try to stick with 3 years.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
On your slate setup.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to set, for example, an equity investor places with you 1 million. They're expecting 20% back, so that becomes 1.2. Are you then reinvesting it as 1.2? So the next time it comes around, it's like 1.42, or is it just 20 per year? 20 meaning it's 1.2, 1.4. Does it compound?
No. There's two different things. The one is the money that I'm using is not money that I'm getting from the, well, I should say it this way. I take the first million, I make the movie. The movie is out, it's making money. By the time I'm making the second movie, the first movie is making money. So that money comes from distribution revenues. It doesn't come from the investor. That's the money I'm using. For the investor, he doesn't care where the money is coming from. He just wants to see his 20% per year. But it's not just 20% per year in itself, because the deal you do with the investor is you're going to get 20% on your money, no matter how long, but you're also getting a profit participation. The source for the equity investor is from two areas: profit participation and the general 20% on however long it takes to make that money back. When I do the business plan with the equity investor, I have to show them what would it look like in 5 years. That's usually what they want to see. So while there is no agreement on paper that I have to pay them back in 5 years, that's what I'm giving them 20% for, they still want to see what it would look like. So my business plan is one thing where I'm showing them, here's how the money would come back, and here's the sources it comes back from, and here is why it comes to 20% per year in total from all the various sources. From this movie you finance with a portion of your million, from that movie you finance with the other portion of your million. Because when I take their money, I spread it over the entire slate. I don't just use it for one movie. That's the idea for a slate. When investors invest with me, they know the money is being diversified over different projects, not just one. So my business plan looks a little different than what you would pitch today, because it has different projects in them with different budgets produced at different times. So to sum it up, the guy gives me $1 million. I, let's say, have 6 projects that are produced in the first 2 years. I put his $1 million in, I put your $1 million in, I put Marite's $1 million in, I put Tori's $1 million in. I have 5 million sitting there, and I'm going to start producing using the money. Then my cash flow plan is going to show first money is coming in, and I use that money. If I don't have a bank, for example, I use that money to invest into a movie. If I do have a bank, it goes back to the bank. So I show exactly where the money is going at any given time. But the movies are generating revenues right away. So I'm using those revenues to optimize my finance plan. In that sense, I'm using certain amounts to finance the second, maybe the second year projects, so that I don't need that much equity. So the equity investor benefits, I benefit because I don't have to pay too much. So it's a more complex calculation, if you will, than just one movie, 20% plus profit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's a different calculation.
Different calculation.
Yeah,
Right.
it's step B of this course.
That's, we should do it. We should do a weekend on slate financing. That's what we should do.
Yes, please.
And then put a business plan together for that. Yes. And yesterday I met a very nice friend of mine who became a friend. He was one of the first students I had in class. He actually worked for HBO, and we came up with this brilliant idea. We're going to now put together a finance plan for a platform, for a digital platform. So we've become our own content providers, or I should say content creators and providers. That's the next thing, because I'm so tired of pitching to people. Anyway, I'm digressing. So slate financing is a little bit more complicated because timing is involved, and we need to really look, when do we spend the money and where is it coming back and when is it coming back? So I'm looking at production schedules. I'm looking at the revenue timing. I'm looking at who's being paid at what time in the waterfall. So that's a whole level of other stuff. But it is, when you work with investors, something that is not entirely, I should say, not, it is relevant at some point. I think I do a little bit of slate financing in this class, but I'm not doing an entire finance plan because I just think it's going to be too overwhelming for many people. So I didn't want to do that. But if anyone is interested in that, we can definitely regroup and just spend the whole weekend just doing that. So stay in touch with me on this. Okay, great. So should we start some of the pitches? If we do, I'm going to quickly stop the recording, and then I'm going to get Jim on, and then we can start the pitches. Yes?
Sounds good.
Okay, so stop
Do we get
recording.
a